Okay, so how do we solve the unknown over here? So basically, we'll just form a coordinates again, 90. Let's say for example 90, and the speed that they are supposed to find is v. So we're going to just use this coordinate, okay, to form an equation, okay, with another coordinate, for example the top coordinate, okay, to find the gradient. Okay, so for example v minus 50 over 90 minus 75 will be equal to gradient that you have found previously over here. Then from here we can solve the v. Okay, so just take note that most of the time for this question, the two main concepts they are testing will be gradient, making use of the gradient, and second one is area under graph. Okay, so that's for speed time graph. Okay, I cannot go in detail because that's going to take out too much time. So this whole purpose is really to just to recap some of the important points. Okay, so next one, of course, that we need to memorize a lot of formulas will be this topic. Okay, talking about volume and surface area. So the first one is prism. So what is prism? Prism, just remember that anything that have the same, we call this a cross-section area. Okay, cross-section area where it's uniform throughout. Okay, we can just use the base area multiplied by height to get the volume. Okay, so to find the surface area, of course, will be you have to break it down and open up. You have to draw the net. For example, this you have to draw the triangle here, draw the triangle here. There's another triangle here, so on and so forth. So to find the total surface area. Okay, right. So you can see that next will be, of course, a cylinder, cone, and sphere. I will leave it for you to just read it on your own. Circle property. Okay, that's something that you need to really memorize before you enter. So this is what I've been talking about this every time in the lesson. So what you need to do really is to even when you're doing the questions, right, always draw the four circle out. Okay, draw the four circle out, and the two with the center of circle, which is the triangle in a semicircle, angle at the center, 2 times angle at the circumference, and 2 without the center of circle, which is the opposite segment and the same segment. Okay, so list these 4 down, especially if those are 1 mark questions, right? Usually it's just apply one of these. And of course, other than these 4 main ones, then next one would be this point. This property over here is also very common. So this is a tangent from external point. So there's a lot of information in this property. So there's right angle first of all. There are 2 congruent triangles is over here. They cut the triangle into half. Then cut the angle into half. Okay, so the 2 lines here are also the same. Okay, so anything that's linked to this, right, you just use the reason as tangent from external point. Right? Okay, next arc length and sector area. So these 2 formulas for the radian mode are all given in the exam. So what you need to memorize is the degree mode. So it's theta over 360 times either 2 pi r or theta over 360 times pi r squared. So one is for the area, one is for the circumference. Okay. So next part will be on congruency and similarity. Okay, so for similarity, I just want to, for even congruency, I just want to highlight the importance of following the order. Okay. If the order is given, make full use of it, because sometimes we know that from this information we know that the length AB is corresponding to DE. You can see that AB and DE, they are the corresponding side. Okay, BC and ED, BC and EF rather will be the corresponding side. And last but not least, AC and DF. Okay. So for such triangle, when they are drawn side by side, is of course is very clear. But sometimes in the question, the diagram is drawn with the orientation, very weird orientation. Okay, so with the orientation, right, it's going to be very useful to look at the order of the triangle that's given to us to solve. Help us to find where is the corresponding side. Okay. Okay, so the other parts, of course, here will be how do we prove for congruent triangle, congruency. Okay, so there are a total of 5 tests, the SSS, SAS, AAS, and so on and so forth. The other two are ASA and the RHS. Okay, these are the few rules. For similar triangle, we just need to prove two angles the same, AA. Okay, then of course another way is to prove all the three lengths are of the same ratio. So what do you mean by that? Let's say this 1:2, 2:4, and 3:6, let's say, and all these actually will give you the ratio of half. So with that we can prove that they are similar. Okay, yeah. So when you are proving they are similar, right, please write is similar to. Okay, for congruency you put 3 strokes. Alright, so just take note of that. Okay, for similar figures, when they compare the area, the length, and the volume, or even the mass, so you have to remember that is the L1, L2, A1, A2, and the V1, V2. Okay, so there's no direct link from V to A, so you need to always link back to L. Volume and length is cube. Area and length is square. Okay, so you need to do them separately. Okay, test for similar triangle. So I mentioned this is under AA, two angles the same. This is on the 3 side, and you can also have a mixture, 2 sides with 1 angle. That means 1 angle and 2 sides ratio is the same. They also consider similar. Okay, inequality. So I leave it to you to read it, but just take note, number line, there's a difference when with a circle, hollow circle, and a solid circle. Okay, and the thing that you need to take note of is the sign will be changed when we divide the negative on both sides. Right? Okay, and next will be the set notation. There's lots of symbol you need to memorize. Element of, non-element of, subset, proper subset. So I always like to refer this to this symbol, the proper subset, as this symbol. So when it's a proper subset is when there's no chance of being equal. It's proper. Okay, it's definitely smaller. Okay, but the one with a equal sign below is just a subset. There's a chance of being equal. There's a chance of being equal. Right? Okay, moving on, matrix. Make sure you know how to multiply matrix, how to add matrix. So the meaning of square matrix is 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. Okay, zero matrix is all 0. Identity matrix is the diagonal will be all ones. First of all, it must be a square matrix. And the diagonal must be 1. Okay, not very commonly seen, but good to know, just in case it comes out. Okay, so this is the concept how we multiply. Make sure that these two, you must write down the order of the matrices. Okay, the second matrix of the first matrix, or rather, the size of the matrix, the number of the second number of the first matrix, right, must be the same as the first number of the second matrix. So they must be the same before you can multiply. Just like the first example here, this must be 3, this must be 3, they are equal, then you can multiply them. Okay, it's always 1 row times 1 column give you 1 number. Okay, so the second example shows that this one cannot multiply because they have not same value for the second number and the first number for the first and second matrix respectively. Okay, so that's for the formula. So we're going to go back to that this portion. Okay, very quickly, we have gone through this part. Okay, so we have gone through the formula list, a very quick one. Of course, these few calculator functions, please make sure that you go and you are able to do this. After watching this video, let's say you don't know how to, you can drop me a message. I can send you some video links, okay, that you can use to find the standard deviation, how to use that to solve quadratic equation, but I believe most of you should be able to do by now. Okay, of course, next will be get ready all the stationaries. Calculator must have the school sticker, curve ruler if you use curve ruler for your curve drawing, and of course your construction set, your not usual pen and pencil, okay, and eraser. So at the actual day, which is tomorrow afternoon, okay, before you go out, make sure you bring all the stationery, okay, your entry proof, also your formula list. This is something that you should be reading along the way when you travel to school. Okay, but of course, if you're on a bus, if you're walking, please do not read it. Okay, so please make sure you read the question very carefully. Give the answer that they're asking for. Okay, so for example, if they ask for the area, give them the area. If they ask for meter square, don't give them in cm square. Okay, if they ask for 3 sig fig or 2 decimal place, give them the accuracy of the answer, not something else. Okay, if they ask us to leave it in pi, please do leave it in pi. Alright, so that will be that for the reading of the question. For the accuracy, make sure you use 5 significant figure, don't use the 3 significant figure. Bearing, okay, I think I mentioned that, just use 3-digit number, exclude the decimal place. Whenever possible, give an exact value, okay, except for money, maybe angle, because angle could be very hard to give, like 35 and 1/5 degree. Okay, so for money and angle, you can round off to 2 decimal place and 1 decimal place, respectively. Okay, and the last part, of course, would be this. Write down your answer in the line. So make sure you present or put it on the line. Write down the working carefully, clearly. Okay, especially the marks is more than 1. You need to present your working. Label your construction. Is it for part A, for part B, or even your graph question? Okay, the finding of tangent, which part is it? Label clearly. Whenever you're doing angle questions, always give reasons. Okay, so especially those questions, they say state your reasons clearly. You have to give the reason. Of course, use pen for all workings except for drawing of the graph, because some of you have that habit of drawing doing a working in a pencil. They will not mark. Okay, so spend 30 seconds to check through your work before you move on to the next question. I think it's a very important technique, not technique, rather it's practice, a habit. Okay, secure the marks. Okay, because it's easy, but you want to make sure that it's secure, it's alright before you move on. Don't leave anything blank. Okay, do any working that is logical, that you can reasonable. You flip the divide to times, you might get some marks. You sketch the curve. You sketch the curve shape of the curve. Even though you might not get the whole thing correct, you might get some marks. Okay, so do anything that's logical and try to get some marks from there. Don't leave blank. Okay, time management. Okay, make sure you check the time. Question with lesser marks are in front, all the way to the back questions are the marks with higher marks itself, but doesn't mean that those at the back are always the harder one. So make sure you look through everything, okay, and scan through, and make sure that you secure those that you can secure. And most important thing is this part: have enough rest the day before during the prelim exam. Okay, I saw some of you so tired that you are resting and you are sleeping throughout. Okay, not sleeping throughout, but sleeping for quite a period of time. So make sure that you have enough rest so that you can stay alert and stay awake throughout the exam. Especially now we are in the hall. It's very conducive environment. It's very cold, and you can just tend to fall asleep. Nobody's going to wake you up. Okay, so just be very careful on that. And of course, I also have sent you this topic, so you just run through. Okay, what are the each individual topics? What are the things that you need to take note of? So you have some impression of. So these are the things. So all the breakdown of the different topics that you should know. Okay, so use this document to identify which are the topic that's not tested in paper 1. Then paper 2 then you need to use those focus on those topics that has not been tested. Okay, so with that I'll end the video, and all the best for your examination. Goodbye.